I've just finished Donkey Kong Bonanza, and I'm thinking about what to play next on my Switch 2. But I can't afford to buy new games right now, and people are talking about Luigi's Mansion 3 again, a game I already own, so I figured I'd dust it off and jump back in. Coming off the back of Bonanza, the lower frame rate and resolution of the creepy 7-year-old game immediately stood out to me. Seeing Switch 1 games like Kirby, Animal Crossing, and Super Mario Wonder receive Switch 2 upgrades, it got me thinking, what other games deserve a Switch 2 upgrade? I'm Craigo, and let's talk about it. First on my Switch 2 upgrades list is Luigi's Mansion 3, surprise surprise. Now, there is a lot of talk about a Luigi's Mansion 4 being announced in 2026. Sure, that could happen, but what could also happen is it doesn't. It might not. So in a timeline where Luigi's Mansion 4 doesn't happen in 2026, or if it's just announced in 2026 or 2027, Luigi's Mansion 3 would make a perfect Switch 2 upgrade. It's one of the best looking games on the Switch 1 hardware. We could just do a little bit of like dusting off, upscaling up to at least 1440p, 60 FPS, and whoa, that game would look schmick. This is a series that has sold 26 million, so it's no surprise that we're thinking a sequel's gonna come out. But I reckon if you add game share, a little bit of game chat with a little speech bubbles above people's heads, and then just pop that into Luigi's Mansion 3, and you've got yourself an easy bang for your buck. Or at least just to tide people over until the eventual release of Luigi's Mansion 4. Moving on. Remember back 8 months ago when the Switch 2 launched and we got a bunch of Switch 1 upgrades just for free, just performance enhancements and all that stuff. One surprising omission was Pikmin 4. It makes no sense as to why Nintendo hasn't given Pikmin 4 the Switch 2 upgrade treatment. But I'll admit I have no experience with this game. I played the demo and that's about it. But I did have a chat with my friend Jim at Nintendo Life and he encouraged me on the idea that Pikmin 4 would be a perfect Switch 2 edition. And I have to agree. From my understanding, Pikmin as a franchise loves to get weird with its concepts, but also its control schemes, using the motion controls on the Wii. Obviously they would, but one that I would love to see them utilize is mouse controls. We don't have enough games on the Switch 2 with mouse controls yet, and it's an easy one. You can use the mouse to aim and chuck your Pikmin at trees and enemies and all that stuff. It just feels like a natural, easy solution, and also a way for Nintendo to actually use their gimmicks that they're failing to use. Aside from all the control gimmicks, Pikmin 4 is actually pretty damn gorgeous, and it would look incredible with a bit of Switch 2 juice, you know? Sure, 4K resolutions or at least 1440p, 60 FPS, perfect, want that, love that. Pikmin 4 isn't relatively old either, so DLC, a bit of HDR, and some game share, I think that'll go a long way. Also, mouse controls. Moving on. This next one is a recent pickup of mine, so I may be a little biased. I was some 6 years late to Astral Chain, and I'm a huge fan of Platinum Games' work, so forgive me if I'm hoping that the studio is spending their post-Ninja Gaiden 4 time revamping Astral Chain, or even working on a sequel. Ooh. But everyone I've talked to about this game loves this game, and wants to see its performance upgraded to match its super slick combat mechanics. Astral Chain's biggest criticism is that it was locked to 30 FPS on Nintendo hardware, the only place it's playable. And for a lot of people, FPS is a deal breaker. I just think it's long overdue some love and attention from Nintendo. It's been gathering dust for way too long. This is a 6 to 7 year old game, so DLC is probably out of the question. It'd be more like a definitive edition or even a sequel. But a mode that I thought would benefit from Switch 2 gimmicks and upgrades would be to have an online co-op endless tower scenario where one of you plays as the Legion and one of you plays as the Neuron police officer, and you just tackle endless floors of enemies. That would be really cool. Better yet, stick a second police officer in there with their own Legion and have you and your mates just go all the way up the tower using motion controls to whip your little Legion out. Show which Legion's better, and then just hack and slash with your mates and talk about it whilst awesome high-octane anime music is blasting in your ears, and you just, yeah, it's good stuff. It's really good stuff. Next game. It just feels a bit weird to me that Nintendo has practically ignored Super Smash Bros. Ultimate since the Switch 2 launch. There has been one patch which was just to fix something minor about the online, a Mii fighter or something that was just ultimately going to get his ass kicked by King K. Rool. Anyway, now I'm not good at Smash. I don't pretend to be. I actively avoid playing it with my brother-in-law because he'd kick my ass. But I know a lot of people who do like Smash and are good at it. The 1080p at 60 FPS, whilst is perfect for me, is absolutely fine for me, I know it's not for other people. And an upgrade of 1440p at minimum to 60 FPS would be perfectly fine as just a free patch. But I'd love to see it in 4K at 120 FPS, have either one of those modes, like a performance and a quality mode, and then just write Switch 2 Edition on a piece of sellotape and stick it to the box. My only concern, however, by making a Switch 2 Edition is what are they going to do with the roster? Is it going to come with all the DLC fighters, or is it going to reduce them back to the base? Which I'm pretty sure people won't be very happy with. Anyway, moving on. Nintendo Switch Sports is my next Switch 2 upgrade. I need this. I really do. I played a lot over the holidays, especially the new editions of basketball and golf. I think I got pretty good at golf. And I know there's a great argument that we'll just get a Switch 2 Sports. What would you call it? Would it be Switch 2 Sports or Switch Sports 2 or Switch 2 Sports 2? What would it be called? But names aside, I think Spocko Square has plenty of room for some Switch 2 gimmick sports. Namely, snooker and pool, or possibly even rowing, maybe, perhaps. Like drag and drive mechanics, although not many people like that game, do they? Or in the case of snooker, using mouse controls to, you know, pot a ball. That would be delightful. Any excuse to get me back on Switch Sports. But a feature again that Nintendo are just neglecting is the C button on my right Joy-Con. It's so big for such a pointless, and I don't use it. Mainly because Nintendo aren't really giving us an excuse to use it. And Switch Sports could be a perfect excuse. Can you imagine going toe-to-toe with someone in basketball, driving to the basket and dunking on them before hitting them with the too small?
Hey,
Next game. Ubisoft is a pretty smelly company. They're doing a lot of shady, stinky things like canceling games and trying to lay off people. It's not good. So I feel a bit daft that I'm sat here hoping that Ubisoft is going to create some Mario plus Rabbids, Kingdom Battle, and Sparks of Hope duology. Sort of how Nintendo did Super Mario Odyssey, you know? These are probably my favorite Mario spin-off games. They are phenomenal. They are top-notch turn-based strategy games. More so Sparks of Hope because Kingdom Battle is starting to show its age a little bit. I would love a duology with both games, you know, 4K, 60 FPS on both. But because Kingdom Battle is a little bit older, I would love to see them upgrade the game and have it utilize the movement, you know, the free movement in Sparks of Hope. I think they nailed their sort of brand of tactics with the sequel. Ubisoft even branded Sparks of Hope as a bit of a failure when it came to sales. It didn't sell as much as they'd hoped. But against all odds, I still really want a duology. It'd be a great way to package both of the games up, ship them out, and see if the audience is still there for a possible trilogy. I really hope they do. Next on the list is Xenoblade Chronicles X. Well, any of the Xenoblade Chronicles games, really. I'm pretty new to this franchise as a whole, like I am with Pikmin. I picked up my Switch 2 over 2025 to 2026, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. So I'm trying out all these new games, and I kind of wish that I waited to play a Xenoblade game until a Switch 2 edition. I'm not saying that Xenoblade Chronicles X is bad on the Switch 2, it's perfectly fine, but there's just things that I don't like about the game that I think don't really bother other people, but maybe bother me. Like having character models and scenery pop in as you run towards it because the Switch hardware wasn't good enough to load the render distance that great. The gameplay, fantastic. Love the loop, and I can see myself getting really into it. And the world is big and expansive, and I just want the Switch 2 to really capitalize on what a cool environment in the Xenoblade Chronicles games has. I know I sound like a guy who doesn't know much about Xenoblade Chronicles, and that's because I don't really. But I want to, and I want to play these games on Switch 2. I want to know what Shulk's up to, you know? I see him in Smash, I want to know his history. I know it's not the best reason, but it's my reason. I'm sure you've got a better reason, and maybe that's why you agree with me. So those were a few games I can genuinely see getting a Switch 2 edition or upgrade. But here are a few more that I would personally love to see just because I want them. Starting off with Resident Evil 2 and 3. I've just never been a fan of, frankly, the awful cloud edition of these games. With Requiem on the way and Resident Evil 7 and Village both launching natively on Switch 2 hardware, why not bring back Resi 2? It's an all-timer, I've been playing it on my Xbox Series X, and it just never gets old. Instant purchase. Next is Mario and Luigi Brothership. I don't think it needs a Switch 2 upgrade. It doesn't. It's gorgeous and it runs perfectly on the Switch 2 hardware. But DLC. I want DLC, and whilst you're at it, why not just upgrade it to Switch 2? What games would you like to see get a Switch 2 upgrade? And bonus points for letting me know what gimmick you'd like to see your game get. Mouse controls, game chat, game share, or just an upgrade in visuals. Be sure to comment below. For more videos like this one, stick with your game friend. I've been Craigo, and all that's left to say is bye-bye for now. Cheerio!